Steve, first of all, team news. How's John Joe Shelby and other guys?
We think John Joe Shelby's going to be okay. Yeah, he trained yesterday and the day before. We've got a slight doubt about Alan St Maxim. He's got a bit of a hamstring. We'll see how he is today. Apart from that, we're as we were.
Emil Kraft?
Sorry? Emil Kraft is fit, yeah. Yeah, he's fit too.
What's the mentality going down to Norwich? Because everyone always talks about not a great time to face the newly promoted side.
Well, it's never going to be easy. It's never going to be easy, and of course, I think there's only Manchester City maybe scored more goals than them last year. I think the philosophy was that we'll always score more than what you will. That's certainly the way they played in the Championship, and certainly the way they played last week at Liverpool. So, like any promoted team, you know, everybody's excited. First game of the season, and Norwich haven't been there for a few years, so it's going to be difficult. But then again, the Premier League is always difficult.
Obviously, you faced them as manager of Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship last season. They do concede goals as well.
Yeah, I mean, they were very, the way they played, they were very, very different last year to a lot of teams in the Championship, that's for sure. And basically ran away with it with the amount of goals they scored. I think it was something like 93 or 95, something like that. Was an unbelievable amount. So we know what they're about. I don't think they're going to change. I think that's the way the philosophy of the manager wants to play. And so the one thing we're going to have to do is defend. We're going to have to defend well. But you're right. When they play that certain way, then can we have up the top end of the pitch? Can we go and exploit them if we possibly can?
I was going to say, as a manager, when you see a team set up like that, even though you're away from home, does it encourage you to be perhaps a little bit more offensively minded and exploit?
I think I've always tried to be. Any game you're in, I think the one thing you have to have is a mentality that you have to try and win. You know, if you just go down there and think, oh well, we've got to defend well and not do something the other way, then I think that would be wrong. But we have to have that belief that we can go there and get a result. And it took us a long time last year to get started, so it'd be wonderful if we go and nick a result.
And you've had a week now with Andy Carroll. I know last week you were asked and said he's a few weeks away.
Yeah.
You had time to get a better assessment.
Yeah, he's doing a bit of running on the grass. As we still said, we still think he's going to be at least 4 or 5 weeks away. And I think the big thing with Andy is not to put a time scale on him. You know, he'll be ready and fit when he is. And if you try and put time scales, then it disappoints him and disappoints everybody else. I'm sure he's going to have a big part to play. The way I see him running yet in the week, then hopefully, touch wood, and it stays okay, he'll be in the next few weeks.
And just finally, obviously, Rafa Benitez had his first say since leaving Newcastle this week on his version of events, but he also encouraged everyone to get behind you. Do you have any thoughts on what he had to say, and is that a help?
I haven't really seen his comments. I don't really take much notice. Now, look, I've said it many, many times. Rafa is a very, very experienced and very, very good manager for the club. And a lot of people are disappointed the way he left. It's time, though, to get really behind the team. He has gone. He's chose to go to China. And it's time, really, to try and move on if we possibly can and get right behind the team, because obviously always the club needs that valuable support.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Steve, just on Andy Carroll, you spoke last week about what he'll bring to the dressing room as well as on the pitch when he is fit. What have you seen of that so far in him being back at Newcastle?
Well, it's only been a week, of course, since he walked through the door, but you can just see the other day, for example, we had a meeting with the strikers and he's in there giving his opinion with her in the canteen. They all want to be a little bit round him. They want to feed off his experience and his know-how, and also of what Newcastle's are out about, I'm sure. So there's all of them experiences can only be a positive. And of course, the big positive of it all is when you see him out on the training ground, because if we can get the lad fit, then we know we've got a smashing player as well.
And just thinking about Norwich, obviously they had a heavy defeat against Liverpool in their opening match, but they were impressive going forward. Clear that they are going to stick to that.
I would think so. Well, the way they went about their work at Liverpool, and I think the way the manager has put his stamp on Norwich last year in the Championship, they blew it away, really. with the amount of goals they scored. They were very, very impressive after being the favourites to be relegated, would you believe? It's quite incredible. He's done an unbelievable job. So it will be difficult, like they all are, the Premier League. They're all difficult. Added more are the ones that always get up, because the excitement in the ground and all the rest of it, to see them back in the Premier League again. They haven't been there for a few years, so it'll be a big atmosphere, so we'll have to cope with that as well.
And you mentioned the tough start for Newcastle last season. Obviously, fixture-wise, it's another tough start again. You've got that similar scenario of having the second game away to a promoted team. Bearing in mind last year as well, how important is it to get...
I don't think we won until November last year, so it'll be vitally important that if we can, if we can get a few results. Always, any manager, whatever league you're in, the one thing that takes a little bit of the pressure away is to get a few results. So let's hope we can get off and running tomorrow.
And just touching briefly on the Arsenal defeat, obviously a narrow defeat. What pleased you most about that?
For an hour, we went toe to toe with them and give as good as we got. It was never going to be a classic with the conditions. It's fair to say the longer it went, we didn't quite get to the levels where we were in the first half, with the intensity of what we played at. But there was a lot of positive things. I can't remember over 20 years playing Arsenal when my goalkeeper hasn't really had a shot to save. So there's a lot of positives, but we've had another week behind us, so we've been here now four and a bit weeks, and hopefully we'll see a more improved performance tomorrow.
That's great, thanks.
Steve, obviously it's a pretty ruthless division for newly promoted sides. Do you think Norwich may have to compromise some of their principles?
I don't think they will compromise. I think each club, and I think the way the manager is, he'll have his own certain way, and I think he'll stick to it. I think we've seen that at Anfield last week. There was no signs that he was going to change. That's the way they performed last week in the Premier League, in the Championship, so I don't think he'll change.
Do you think the real lesson they'll learn is that any sort of mistakes tend to be punished in the Premier League?
I think that's the big thing with my experience from the Championship, is you don't get the amount of chances that you get in the Premier League. It's a bit unforgiving, and of course you make a mistake, you get punished, and I think that's the difference in the two leagues.
I suppose you've been kind of playing catch up most of the summer with when you were appointed. I mean, do you feel you are actually sort of getting to the point where you want to be this day?
Well, it's only been a month, but of course, but always managers crave his time, because the more time you have with the players, the more you've got on the training ground, the more they get to know which way you're going to play, and there's still players that haven't even seen perform yet, who have been unfortunately injured. So there's still a lot to do. It's still very, very early, but I've enjoyed every minute.
I suppose one of the keys is, as we saw perhaps from the second half, is going to be those players who can come in and do a job when you need to make replacements in the game. Yeah,
I mean, listen, we're always as good as we're squad, and we've got 2-3 injuries. Dwight Gale comes to mind straight away. Christian Atsu's another one where we haven't seen him really at all. He's been hampered by an injury, and that's always frustrating for him and for the club as well, and the squad, that we are carrying 4 or 5 at the moment. So our aim is to try and get them fit, because it is a squad game these days, and obviously the more you've got to choose from, the better.
No wins in the first 10 last season, but given the sort of circumstances in which you sort of came into the job, I mean, how important is it to get that first?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, we've got an opportunity again tomorrow, and then we've got a nice easy one at Spurs away next week. So it is what it is. The Premier League, no matter how you look at it, it's always difficult. So that's why it's the biggest and best league in the world.
Steve, is it one of those things in terms of getting a win that the sooner you get it, everyone can relax a little bit and sort of that will be conducive to?
I think wherever league you're in, if you're a manager, of course, the one thing you always want is a decent start. Everybody can't get it, of course, but I do believe that we will get better as we go on. We have bought 4 or 5 players in who, the vast majority of them only came in last week. They've only been here a week. So we need them to settle down and get used to what playing in the Premier League is all about. But of course, it would settle everybody down if you can get a nice positive result.
And I know on that subject of having another week with the new players was something that you pointed out in the press conference after the Arsenal defeat, that actually there was a little bit of confusion. Jethro, wasn't quite sure where.
No, I'll try and clear that up if I can. I put Jethro on in midfield where he played all last season for Frankfurt, and then very quickly thought, do you know something, that's a bit unfair on him. Maybe I should have done it beforehand. It's a bit unfair on him because he's making his debut. I'll put in his his favoured position. So I switched him very, very quickly. Now, we've made a mistake, but he wasn't the only one who made the mistake in the build-up to the goal. So we've made a mistake. 2-3 people have made that mistake too. So, as we said, you make a mistake in the Premier League, you get punished. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it was.
No, I was just going to ask, do you feel like it's, now that you've had another week?
Well, for all of them, I just think, just for all of them to get out of hotels for a start, not just on the plane, on the training ground, to get used to being in the Premier League, to get used to the new surroundings. When you're new anywhere, it's always difficult, especially when you're a footballer coming from a different league. So the more they're together, the better they'll become. And
just last one, obviously, you'll have good memories from your time at Norwich.
Long time ago.
Yeah, they've got the likes of Tim Krul and Grant Hanley who played up here. Yeah. It's funny how the fixtures sort of work these things out, isn't it?
Well, there's always something, there's always a connection, but I'll always be extremely grateful to Norwich. They give me the opportunity when I played in the lower divisions for years. I didn't think I was going to get out of them. They give me a big break to go and play. And in the mid-80s, it was, long time ago, but happy memories.
I suppose when you sit here and think back to that and the job that you're in now, it was vital in a way to get you to where you are now.
Yeah, it gave me the opportunity. As I said, I thought for long periods in my career I was going to just end up in the lower divisions. And Norwich gave me a chance, and I played alongside Chris Woods and Dave Watson, Asa Hartford, Mick Shannon, John Dean, Keith Burchin. We had a very, very decent team, and of course I think we won a cup in '85, which is the only cup they've ever won really, so to be part of it, as I said, it was a long, long time ago if I can remember, but I'll always be grateful.